What is up, you guys? I'm back with another video, another book. Oh, I shouldn't touch that, huh? Another book review or book chat. So the book I want to talk about today is called That's Not What Happened by Cody Kelplinger. Cody Kelplinger. Again, this book I read on, or I listened to on Audible. So I say that to say that's why I showed the picture of the book on the iPad, because I don't have a hard copy. So the book is about, I'm going to read you the synopsis. It's been 3 years since the Virgil County High School massacre. 3 years since my best friend Sarah was killed in a bathroom stall during the mass shooting. Everyone knows Sarah's story, that she died proclaiming her faith, but it's not true. I know because I was with her when she died. I didn't say anything then, and people got hurt because of it. Now Sarah's parents are publishing a book about her, so this might be my last chance to set the record straight. But I'm not the only survivor with a story to tell about what did and didn't happen that day. Except Sarah's martyrdom is important to a lot of people who don't take kindly to what I'm trying to do. And the more I learn, the less certain I am about what's right. I don't know what will be worse, the guilt of staying silent or the consequences of speaking up. So this book is about a mass shooting, a school shooting in particular, which in the United States is a very touchy subject because we value some of us value our gun rights, but also a young child should not have, my opinion, should not have access to like a machine gun, etc. Anyway, this is a touchy subject, and I want to say this is another book that I just scrolled through Audible and was getting whatever the free options were to me at the time. So I didn't read the synopsis of the book. And then when I did, I was like, wow, this is about a school shooting. And then the part that really tripped me out was that it's fiction. And I don't know. And so one of the biggest things for me while listening to this book, which was a good book, by the way, I'd give it a B+, 4 out of 5 stars if you prefer stars. One of the things that tripped me out about this is that we're at a point where we're writing fiction books about mass shootings. And I guess, as a consumer, if this is something that is, touchy to you, you have the option or the right not to read this book, right? But when I originally read what it was about, I assumed that it was going to be a true story, and it was not. It's a work of fiction. So I wanted to say that, first of all, because I feel like it felt weird to me to be reading a book about a mass shooting when that is so real. Like, it's such a reality. I mean, I don't know. I just needed to get that out. It felt weird to me reading it. Like, there was let me Google how these people are doing in real life. Like, it was fiction. Which, again, personal preference. If you don't like that, or if you don't want to read about something that's so close to home like this book is not for you. But the story in itself was really good. The tone of the book is also sad, but real. So, like, sad, real, but also hopeful. I have got my notes here if I look down. Sad, real, yet hopeful. So, like, the characters have been through this traumatic event. All of them have processed it differently. For the most part, they're sad, they're traumatized. Some of them are doing okay, some of them are not doing well at all, some of them are processing. So the author does a really great job, Cody, of going through each individual person and what their reality could be while still staying with the protagonist, Lee, whose name is Lee. The main character's name is Lee. So I thought that was really well done, but at the same time, like, they're all hopeful for a brighter future or to move on from this or to learn and grow from it. They're all, like, the main characters are like graduating seniors or recently gone to college, starting their lives, stuff like that. So they're exploring what their reality looks like with this trauma, which is different for each of them. And I like that the author went through that. One thing that really bothered me about the plot, which I won't go into the details because I don't want to give any spoilers, but what really bothered me about the plot was that the adults consistently in this book let the children down, like consistently let the children down. So like the whole undertone of the book is that her best friend, the girl who died in the bathroom, died professing, or the town thinks she died professing her love for Jesus Christ. Like the shooter said, is your Jesus going to protect you now, or something like that? And she says, of course he is, whatever she says. She's got this cross necklace. He shoots and kills her, and she dies a martyr, right? So her best friend, who's in the bathroom with her now, the protagonist, Lee, is saying that didn't happen. So she's going forward, she's telling people that didn't happen. And the adults, and it's not just this particular situation, consistently throughout the book, the adults let these children down. Which is scary to think about, because how often does that happen in real life, where you have these serious situations and children are left to fend for themselves? Probably more than we would like to think, right? But yeah, the adults consistently let the children down, and it just felt so real, because, which is why I kept thinking, like, this is really a work of fiction. It felt so real because a lot of their choices in letting the children down went back to religion, which is like the whole history of mankind, right? We fought wars over our beliefs, specifically Christians, right? Have gone to bat for what it is that they believe. And even in this small town after a school shooting, the adults are the one who aren't able to let the fairy tale go of what this girl said, or even to acknowledge that it didn't happen. Like, they refuse. And even like a town leadership, like a police officer tells Lee, who wants to tell people to set the record straight, the police officer's like, yep, don't advise it, pretty much. So consistently the adults let this girl down. Lee reaches out in the book, she reaches out to all the other like injured victims of this shooting to like write letters to help tell their sides of the story, because the media, which is another interesting factor of this book, the media has spun whatever story that they want to spin, right? Which you see that now. We see that now with regular stuff. Like the media controls the narrative, and these kids didn't like that, right? So they wanted to set their story straight. But then there was someone else who was left out of that. I won't ruin it for you. And she being Lee, navigates a way to include this other person who I won't ruin that for you, but she did a really good job, and I like the way she landed on it. And then she also, the author, touches on Lee's asexuality, which is so interesting, because I think in TV shows and books, like, we are getting to a point where we really are including people who are on the LGBTQ spectrum, which we should, right? Because, you know, they are people and they deserve to be represented in literature and in entertainment. Like, they deserve that. They deserve to see themselves in what they're consuming. But you get a lot of, I don't want to say typical, but like you get a lot of, oh, here's this lesbian couple, or here's this, you know, these gay males couples, or here, you know, maybe here's a trans person, maybe here's this. But you rarely see stuff like being asexual or intersexual people. You rarely see that. And so I liked that she touched on that, and she touched on like how Lee was feeling, like she kind of loved this guy, but she didn't see herself being intimate with the guy. And then she was like, those struggles were really brought to the forefront. And I liked that. I liked that they included that, and it felt different than what you typically consume. So kudos to this author for doing something a little different. Again, if you're not interested in consuming fiction about mass shootings, this one's not for you. It does have a sadder tone, and it's not like a psychological thriller, which is what I normally read. That's not this. but it is still really good. Again, 4 out of 5 stars, B plus, whatever you whichever grading scale you prefer. I enjoyed the book enough to decide I wanted to review it. Definitely leave your comments below if you read this book. I'd like to know what you thought, or if you had a different experience reading a hard copy than an Audible. The other thing I liked that she did was include different voices for some of the different characters. So when they read their letters, it was that person reading the letter. I like that, because when you're doing Audibles, it's always nice to have the difference in voices. I just think that's a great touch. And all the Audible, not creators, authors, all the authors I know that have really popular Audibles are the ones that do that. Like Lucy Foley has a different voice for each character, which is always such a huge hit. Yeah. So those are my thoughts. Let me know yours in the comments below. Definitely subscribe and share my videos. I want to keep doing these if I can. And I will definitely, like, now I'm finishing 2 books currently. I definitely want to record videos on those, and they'll be up. I'll probably record them this weekend, but they'll be up later on. So enjoy, watch, subscribe, tell your friends. Thanks. Bye.